Welcome back to the tightest regional league in Rainbow Six. I'm Dev, and below me I've got two boys that I don't think have slept in the last 48 hours, but if there's anything that's going to jolt them awake, it will be tonight's matches here in APAC South. Xenox, how you feeling?
Mate, I'm more than great. I don't know what you're on about. I actually slept 12 hours last night. I haven't done that for quite some time, so I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. It's the Super Week, so, you know, sort of Playday 4, fresh in our minds coming into Playday 5. A lot on the line. After this day, only 2 days left.
Yeah, for sure. Look, let's go standings and have a look at how this season has panned out so far. Stage 3 we are very deep into, and guys, we are continuing to be incredibly tight. You've got 6 out of our 8 teams within 1 point of each other, but there is a standout there with Invictus well above the rest.
Yeah, Invictus leading the pack really nicely at the moment. They had a slow start to 2021, but that form has only, I guess, been built upon, and particularly off the back of the Mexico Major, they have been faultless so far. Yet to lose a single map, which is a great effort for them. But yeah, as you mentioned, 2nd to 8th, 1 win separating those teams. Super duper close. They're all duking it out, of course, to finish in the top 4 for the APAC playoffs. I think it's probably safe to say at this point that first is out of reach, but those top couple of spots are still very coveted.
Yeah, very much so. It's just continuing to be incredibly close here, and that means that every match matters. We're over halfway through Stage 3, and looking at today's matches on the schedule, you will see that there can be so much movement in the standings here. Xenox, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of loaded games here. We do have all SEA and OS matchups, so it's just the OS teams versus the OS teams and the Southeast Asian teams on the Southeast Asian teams. Any particular ones jump out to you?
I think Q Confirm Elevate, there's always a bit of rivalry in that one. I think Wildcard Order as well, 2 teams that have been labeled as inconsistent, I guess, over the last couple of months. Who's going to sort of win out in this match and really stake their claim for a top 4 placing? And then, honestly, even Knights Chiefs, if we want to build that one up, as the 2 best teams from the Oceanic region, a lot on the line. Whoever loses that game, it's going to be really difficult to make top 4, and that's for both Chiefs and or Knights, which are 2 teams we would have been expecting to fight for, say, top spot. In terms of Direwolves IG, that's definitely the lackluster one, right? IG, by far and away the best team this stage. Direwolves, by far and away the worst team.
You know, that said, we do have a lot of upsets here in APAC South. The guy who's best at predicting them is you guys. Now, I'll get your thoughts on our predictions we've had so far for Stage 3. And look, you are out quite far ahead. Chance that Manic could catch up with you or overtake you tonight. Thoughts?
I was just feeling really nice after what you said about me being the master predictor. That was so kind of you. But tonight, I did go for a little bit of a, I'm going to say wild card. It's just the worst word to use. But yeah, picking them over Order in the first matchup. Arguably a little bit of an upset. But honestly, I think that game can be pretty 50-50. Neither team's really the best at the moment. So yeah, I'm backing Wildcard in on that occasion. Interestingly enough, match 2, quite split as well. The Knights do perform nicely in APAC South. Well, that's what we've come to expect. Unfortunately, Stage 3 hasn't been great, and the Chiefs are looking really good. That's why I picked them. And then, obviously, the last 2 matches a little bit more clear-cut, unless you're Xenox. Which is
Xenox, please tell me what's going on, man.
I think, obviously, there's a couple of reasons for the Q Confirm selection. One, I'm dead last. I need to obviously try and catch up. I'm going the ducky approach by just picking anything and everything that Gaz, Manic, and yourselves haven't quite been picking. But the other thing, giving Q Confirm a bit of respect here. They're 2nd on the standings, right? This team is actually 2nd. Sure, it's only a minus round differential of 1, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker. We spoke to Hollis 2 days ago. Yeah, the first 2 play days weren't that great, so they adjusted. They made some changes. What did they then go do? They beat the Knights, then they beat the Chiefs. 2 top teams. 2 teams that you'd be expecting to battle for top 4. They beat them comfortably too, by the way, Dev. 7-4 and 7-5, so they were pretty convincing wins. So an Elevate team that has been struggling versus an up-and-coming Q Confirmed team, I think that one definitely was one where I was like, yeah, you know what, maybe I can sneak a vote in here and get one back on you guys. But honestly, I think that's going to be a really good game. The first 2 games are also going to be really good games, as sort of dictated there by the predictions.
Look, I do agree. I think we're going to have some tight games here despite having no inter-regional matchups. But our first game of the day is 2 OS teams that have been down on their luck. Guys, at the bottom of the seasonal standings, the 2 teams most at risk of relegations. What can we say for Wildcard? 2021 just has not been theirs.
I think you just summed it up really, really nicely. It started off really badly, unfortunately, when Ethan departed the roster and Silex jumped on board. We thought that after the acquisition of Molosca right of screen that, you know, things would look brighter. They'd bounce back. They'd be back to their very best, remembering that Wildcard not too long ago was quite literally one of the best in APAC. But that just has not been the case. They're failing to gel together. There seems to be inside of the server just indecisiveness issues and a lack of confidence at times. And it feels like their backs are well and truly up against the wall. This is a critical matchup for them, just like their opponents. Relegation's definitely looming.
But if there's any team that Wildcard could get a win against, surely it would be their opponents for this match, Order. Order, a team that hasn't had quite the terrible season as much as Wildcard has, but Stage 3 certainly has been a significant dry spell for them, Xenox.
Yeah, and honestly, you say it perfectly there, Dev. That's why you're the best analyst in the region. But for Wildcard, yeah, their last 3 games against Order, 2 wins. And that's obviously a Wildcard team that has been struggling over that time period as well. Order themselves too, but Order, I think, have had less reasons and less excuses for their struggles so far this year. In saying that, though, Order's a team that can obviously just sort of come out of nowhere, right, and show us their potential randomly. And I just think against a team like Wildcard, a team that is themselves also consistent, a team that also has only won 1 game out of their last 6 matches, which is probably the only team in this league, maybe besides maybe Direwolves, that's kind of matching Order's weirdly long losing streak here. Now, they did get a win against Rhythm in the Oceanic Nationals, but I think, Dev, you might be doing the sort of counting here. It's a pretty long little list of losses. They need to find a win. I'm trying to see their last win in APAC South. I would have probably
Playday 1, I think. Direwolves.
Yeah, day 1. Match day 1. So, yeah, look, if they're going to find a win, here's a good opportunity against another inconsistent team.
Yeah, let's see who shows up on the day. Map Vito, we've got ready to run through. Guz, look, you're the analyst here. I wouldn't trust an Ox with the Map Vito, so it's all yours.
Jeez, you're
God,
too kind.
The stage is Villa.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't trust an Ox with it then.
Yeah, so Villa has really transitioned. Can you two shut up? Villa has really transitioned into a bit of an OS classic. A lot of teams wanting to play there, and we're seeing quite a variance in play style. At a national level, these teams have had to come up against some ultra-aggressive frag-heavy teams, but I would argue at the moment these two are still in a very meta, a very old meta in terms of util clearance, a lot of vertical play, so we'll probably see that out here in this matchup. In terms of the numbers, the raw numbers at that, Wildcard 1 and 6 record, their worst round diff. So they have been struggling on Villa this year. Order, on the other hand, 5-3, only map with a positive round diff. Now, of course, that doesn't really mean necessarily a whole lot in the head-to-head, but fortunately, we do have a stat for that as well. OCN Order 1-7-4, that was back in June. So a little while ago, there has been a bit of a shift in the meta from then onwards. Arguably a little bit more aggressive now, but it does give us a bit of a read that Order, probably the favorites in terms of the map.
I feel like a big talking point for both of these teams is not only the fact that the teams themselves have been hot and cold, but a lot of players hot and cold. But one player that is consistently hot in recent weeks is Order's Bailey. He has just been something else. Are we hoping that big performers are going to step up on Wildcard to match that, Xenox?
Well, obviously, that's what Wildcard would be hoping, wouldn't it? Obviously, for Bailey, he's just been in some great form when maybe his team hasn't been. But I kind of want to go back here to the map itself. Bailey's going to do Bailey things. I don't think Wildcard's going to be able to stop him. But heading over to Villa, you know, Guz laid it out perfectly. Beautifully reading the match tracker, by the way, from left to right. I can see what you've done here, Guz. But the one thing I sort of really want to touch on is sort of the win conditions here for Wildcard. Because Order, we've seen a bit more of their Villa recently. They've had more success on it. As Guz touched on, it's actually their only map with a positive round differential. So what are the win conditions for Wildcard? It's definitely going to be matching Order's sort of vert play. That's what they've been bringing over to Villa this stage, establishing a lot of vert control on maps like AVG, or Kitchen Dining, sorry, and Stat Trophy, less so on AVG. It's still there, but it's more of a main stairs study thing. But on those sites specifically, Stat Trophy, Kitchen Dining, that's where it's been won and lost, I think, in Order's matches on Villa, and that's where Wildcard's going to need to be on their game. They'll probably get, you know, their defenses on Aviator games. That's going to happen for probably both teams. So I'm looking to Stat Trophy, Kitchen Dining as the 2 sites that are probably going to have to be won to win the match.
Yeah, well, Wildcard are already booked in to play relegations for Oceanic Nationals. Can they or Order dodge relegations out of APAC South? Bottom of the 2021 season standings right now, both of these 2 teams, they're both desperate for this win. Our casters for this game are Raven and Manic, so boys, take it away.
Woo!
That's easily the best segment we've had all year long, gentlemen. Well done. And prefaced it beautifully, Raven. Coming into this one, it's a little bit scary for both of these teams. Wildcard and Order both fighting out of relegations at the moment. Wildcard ahead by 2 points in the season standing. So this is almost at a point where it's do or die for Order. They've only got 2 games left if they can't pull 3 points out here.
Yeah, and look, I feel like this is definitely the game where if they're going to find some points, they could probably get a bit of an upset here. They are kind of poised as, I would say, favourites coming into this game, so this is the time for them to strike.
Certainly is. Strike while the iron's hot, and it's never been hot for both of these teams. I'll be completely honest. Stage 3 has been hit and miss, more so missing than any of the earlier of the two. Now, moving into the ban phase, dare say that surely we get to see a Nook ban on here. I know that Order are quite cheeky when it comes to sneak around the map a little bit more so, but we'll see where we go for the first one.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure whether the Nook ban will come out, but certainly starting to see Thatcher be the mainstay. Not starting to see, he really is just consistently the mainstay, in particular on Villa. On the defense side, though, I reckon we're probably going to see Valkyrie, maybe even the mute ban seems to be a fairly common one that's emerging on Villa in particular.
Wait and see. Noak. Specker. Yep. Expected. The final ban to pose a threat here, potentially for Wildcard's defense. No, I wouldn't even be surprised if we end up seeing something crazy like a pulse ban. It does, obviously the pulse is way too handy on that kitchen side, but there's no chance. There's no chance. I like to wish. I like to and ah, but Kaid taken off the board, Raven. As we get underway here, again, cannot state enough how dangerous this is for both of these teams. Wildcard take 3 points. They jump to 25 points in the seasonal standings. That all but kind of sets them on a path out of relegations. But for Wildcard, they may be able to leapfrog both Direwolves and Wildcard in a single match. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, again, this is just such an important opportunity here for Order. As you said, their back is really against the wall for the entire season. But on top of that, Wildcard, they didn't look that great against Invictus Gaming in their recent Villa map. So I'm kind of surprised we've gone back here again, Manic. I feel like this is, I don't know, maybe Wildcard have found something they think that they can fix on this map, presenting the fact that it's also a recent VOD for Order to counter against. I'm just super curious how this is going to play out.
Straight down. Not messing about, no stat trophy, no AVG. Xenox had prefaced that this was going to be one of the most important sites that we see. In recent attempts, especially in Australia, I've certainly seen a huge push for this early site, dining kitchen, trying to catch someone off. I mean, how often it has, I'd actually love to go back and check out the success that it's had, because I feel like this first round really can unravel quite heavy. But you do see the Mozzie, do see the mute. Surely we're going to see Order extend quite far and ensure that Wildcard do their due diligence.
Yeah, it's definitely a lineup that's going to scream roam. I mean, you've got the Mozzie and the mute to really help just hinder that intel gathering from the attackers, so it allows you to just remain elusive as those defenders, as well as the fact they've got some operators that can really handle themselves quite well on the roam. Alibi and the Mozzie in particular, but even that Melusi can play quite effectively on the roam.
Well, speaking of the roam, that's the first kill. It's going to be Bailey opening things up. This is not what we like to see for Wildcard. Bailey has just been an absolute nuisance. Dev prefaced it perfectly, saying that this could be one of the key factors for Order here, the linchpin in a victory today. And he's already started off in the right fashion, not taking a single piece of damage. Full HP, C4 still in hand, and ever at large.
Oh, good opening kill there for Bailey. That's really putting Order in a great position here, and just, I think getting in the heads of Wildcard early is certainly going to be the play. We've seen it on many occasions this year, that Wildcard, once they really start to slip in the match, they don't seem to have it in them to bring it back, and it's just down to the struggles they've had. And you know, I hate to say it, but just they're low on mentals at the moment. So if you can win that early game, it always is going to help you.
Gives you a bit of room to move with. 1D. No one really caught in that for Order either, so they're well and truly back toward the site more so. I think there's one player across toward red. I don't know whether that's my eyes deceiving me or not, but certainly Order are well and truly bunkered on the second and first floor, right above the site and below the site, I guess, if you want to put it like that. But this is going to be really difficult, I feel, for Wildcard. I just don't see them testing that top floor roam yet.
Not really, and the fact is, minutes ago, we saw this kind of very linear clear from Wildcard against Invictus Gaming as well, and again, just to allude back to that game, it wasn't really working out for them. They were just affording their opponents so much map control, and it just came down to this almost exact play. Milo coming through basement, or just a play out, kind of pinching in general. If they find an opening, sure, Wildcard are then set up kind of to make an execute work, but again, if Milo isn't effective here, what have they really achieved? I think it's only going to be tricky from that point.
30 seconds left. And it really does kind of put onto Wildcard's shoulders a fair bit of pressure right now. No one kind of stopping them coming in from China. That's Vinny opening up the bank account. What is going on? Where are Order? Where's the response? That's it. Jack Daddy will find one with the bailiff. Pat, he is sticking it. Nico could have gone huge, but it's a trade from Nate nonetheless. And a 2v3 right now. There's chaos all over the site, and Wildcard are thriving as Jack Daddy 1v2 clutch. This does not seem doable. Isolating these fights are going to be hard enough. The wall reinforced, the pantry already flashed. This is not going to end well, and it doesn't. Wildcard, they take that first round. I cannot believe that.
They ended up really making that work, and again, it came down to that pinch through China and Pantry, but maybe just catching Order a little bit sleeping. Unfortunately, we didn't quite catch the entry kill there, but it ended up giving them that kitchen site control, and then with cutting off dining, Order effectively didn't really get a look in for that retake. So, good job from Wildcard, sorry, but yeah, look, I'm still, I don't know, I'm not yet convinced, but this is certainly a good start for them. And as I was saying in that previous round, you know, if Order get the early jump, it seems to be the trend that Wildcard can't really bring it back. So, conversely, this is really important for Wildcard to get off to a good start.
Very true. I mean, both of these teams, we've stressed it enough how poor their stage and really overall season have been. It's crazy to think that, you know, we're talking about Wildcard and the fact that they've just had, you know, such a really tough trot from stage 1 through to stage 3, but yet they're still 2 points clear of Order. And I think that really, Raven, is indicative of kind of the lack of achievement from Order in stage 3, you know, and got to call a rock sometimes. Unfortunately for Order, it just has not clicked, and it could be well and truly to their demise. They've got a lot of teams that are starving for this position in APAC South, and there is no doubt that, you know, you give an opportunity to some of these up-and-coming teams, some of these young gunners, they're going to knock you off your perch real quick.
Yeah, and it's like it was highlighted on the desk too. It definitely feels, for Order in particular, they can't really have an excuse, right? Like, they've actually had a fairly stable roster for a majority of the year. And again, they're all great players. They just, I don't know, they're just missing the secret sauce, whatever it is. But to your point, Manic, there are some young gunner teams and just general up and rising teams that are ready to kind of take the spot. And this is where Order need to dig deep. They need to find some points to stay in the running.
Building on the entry right now, Milo trying to contest the vert line from the corner of Long. Nate now just moving back in behind the archway. Got to be so careful doing this. He's got players watching him left, right, and center. Doesn't look like Order can capitalize on the two players pushing in from main entrance, but at the very least, it's kind of, it's ensuring that Wildcard are doing their due diligence as they make their way in, and still just taking some of that seeding fire as they fall back into Library. Now taking a bit of control. Geo, goodness me, that's unlucky.
That was unlucky timing. That is sometimes the life of the vert player. You know, the amount of times you spot somebody cross through those rafters and you're just not quite ready for the shot. But it is what it is. At this point, Order hanging on. First 90 seconds goes by to no engagement. The push pretty heavily indicated here from Wildcard. They are all stacked on this south side, and Specker is actually going to be the first to strike. Milo goes ineffective on the Jackal on the entry. And again, Wildcard, they're trying to hard take this study area. They're trying to get this vert control, but with that opening kill, that's going to be Order just remaining that control for now.
Yeah, and this is the problem when you're trying to play against two players on Toms, or top main stairs, I should say. Nate going to be able to watch nice and closely. Still got the shoulder of Specker. Love that from Nate. Get aggressive, get in the face of Wildcard, and ensure that you're testing them. Now with a minute left, Wildcard seem to be scrambling.
Yeah, they're looking to really rush that Tom's position. They want to try and get the corner of Classical Hallway at least in their control. But look at that, there's a nice deep shield at 90 that can still look all the way down Classical. So without the top of Red Stairs control, they can't really comfortably be playing down Classical. And on top of that, I believe it's still Jackdad that was on Red Stairs last we saw. So again, this map control heavily in favor of Order. Wildcard really up against the wall trying to make it work here.
Oh, Jackdad, he is lit up, and Vinny, he'll find a kill on the other side of the map. Now things start to get a little bit awkward. Vinny's going to go big with another double. The entry from this man is absolutely unreal on the sticks, but Nico finds the timing. What else can they get done on site? It's Vinny. It's Emo. They're holding tight, but I don't think they're going to be given anything here. Order are holding on for dear life. Nate now coming in on the flank, just can't find the timing on the Emo ring, but with both players completely tunneling straight onto Bailey's position, there's just no time. That was one of the weirdest ends to a round I've seen in a while.
It was quite strange. I mean, Vinny got a interesting little 2K entry to site, but they still had Diffuser just nowhere near them. And then, yeah, I mean, really well played from Order, I guess, not getting too aggressive towards the end because, again, Wildcard didn't have Diffuser, and that clash was kind of keeping the remaining two players at bay. Bit of a mess, but it works, and that's Order hanging on for that one at least. So staying in touch in this early game is definitely going to be important for them.
That it is. You'd imagine as well, kind of starting out on defense, it's not something that you'd really want to slip away, right? You don't want to be trying to claw back the rounds on your attack, especially when Wildcard, I would say they'd feel pretty comfortable going to their defense. So just to preface, put some stats behind what I'm saying, 65% of all rounds are won on the defense here in APAC South on Villa. So that really does kind of highlight a very, I would say, damning stat. If Order can't really close this out 4-2, 3-3 at the absolute minimum, there's going to be some real issues when Wildcard do get to swap over. But, that is a conversation toward the end of this game. They won't want to let another round like round one slip, especially when it felt like they had so much control.
Yeah, and also I think something that was really highlighted in that last round is just how fragile certain aspects of Order can be. So Vinny getting that 2K entry, but the last thing we saw was Jackdad trying to engage him from the top of Red Stairs. Yeah. Vinny saw Jackdad pull away, he knew he'd pump some bullets into him, and the fact that Vinny had that LMG on Finca, he just yeeted into sight, and that was it. There was just an absolute breakdown, I guess, of comms from Order, or no one backing up, watching that position, knowing that Vinny was there looming. And I guess that's something that points to just Order's potential overall issues, right? It could be communication, just general teamwork based, and some teams are really capitalizing on that. So that last round definitely could have gone worse. Thankfully, it didn't in their case.
Guess whatever you can hold on to, you need to. And, Villa's just been played so much recently, Raven, especially in OCN. We've seen OCN... okay, Villa's been played 8 times in OCN, which is just kind of crazy considering how little we'd seen it in Stage 2. And over there, it's a lot more even in terms of attacker and defender, wins. So that might indicate that maybe my stats are a little bit off, and it could just be the Southeast Asian teams skewing it a little bit more. But both of these teams, this is not something that they're uncomfortable on. However, you don't want to allow Wildcard that room to move. Just like that again, Milo going to find himself an entry. It's Nico down. It is only the mute though.
Yeah, and Bailey here potentially looking for the refrag, opting not to. Does almost walk into some pre-fire, but gets away. Tries a little spray of his own, but not to be. Specker still looming and dining. Oh. This could be absolutely brutal if he's not spotted. That he is actually. That drone is going to get him. Geo engages, and Geo wins that one. So yeah, not looking too good now for Order.
No, and that's just beautiful from Wildcard. For a fact, we've seen so many times teams just miss drone by an inch. That's all it can take sometimes, but this time it's not to be. Wildcard ensuring that they're crossing those T's. And Auto with 3 players left, a minute on the board, they've got to get a wriggle on. They need to find the next pick, and that's exactly what they do. Bailey gets aggressive in Bathroom and backs away into Stat. This is where things can start to fall apart for Wildcard if they're not careful.
Definitely could. They want to try and hold on here. 45 seconds. They are set up fairly well, but this position from Bailey, this is just such a Bailey thing. He could really wreak havoc here. If he gets 1, even 2, it could be a difficult position. He manages to hang on. And is he going to get this kill? He does manage. So that's defused down.
Finny, lucky, watches the run out, but it won't make a difference because Milo's gone down in the meantime. 1 from Astro, 1 from Bedroom. What's the decision? Do they try to pick up their teammate? 100% they do. There's no doubt about that. Nade, how good's this cooked? Oh no, ADS right in front of them. Jack Daddy, can he swing out? Tries to find a tag, but Geo makes it to safety. Oh, this is falling apart for Wildcard, but Geo, is he the savior? Nate from landing. 1v2, he could deny with a C4 and nothing but the C4. That's another round on the board for Order.
Really well played from Order again. They were talking about them being backs up against the wall. I think it was 5 versus 3 at one point there, and then it just fell apart for Wildcard. So great job from Order again. As we were highlighting, you know, pretty important to lock in these defense rounds. Seems to be the way it swings, at least in APAC South. Again, a small kind of data set there for stage 3, but at the end of the day, it's generally how Villa has been. So yeah, look, this is where it gets interesting for Wildcard. They need to try and just stay in touch, right? The last time they won, it was Kitchen Dining. Well, here we are, Order back at Kitchen Dining.
And you would, I mean, I would just have to imagine that that round that they were able to win, just some miscommunication, players maybe trying to rotate right at that last possible second and getting caught out. I mean, a push from China and a push from Pantry at that point was all but unnoticed on site. And you had players scrambling on the vert lines trying to find kills. I could not see a world in which Order let that slip again. So provided we see the same start, we see Order take an early lead and the man advantage, and maybe they're able to turtle back on site, it could be to the detriment of Wildcard. But there's one thing's for sure, these rounds, they're certainly close. They're not just absolute stomps. And I think that this is just the starting of a barn burner.
Feels like it definitely could be. But yes, still a lot of siege to go, only 3 rounds in. Something that's interesting is, you know, Wildcard, I guess it's fairly classic Wildcard is what we would say, that they are just sticking with such a consistent attack lineup.
Yep.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just very much them. They seem to be all about their structure, all about just playing within the bounds that they are just used to. And honestly, I wonder whether that can even be accredited to some of their downfall, is that maybe they can just be a little bit too rigid. We had some promise recently that potentially they might play with a bit more kind of like looseness, aggressiveness, but it just hasn't felt like that's eventuated.
No. Oh, and there's only so many days left in the season, the entire season. That's the thing that's really scary right now, is it's only one more day of OCN, and well, as of today, if we finish up, it'll only be 2 days left of APAC South. So your opportunity to really catch teams off is just slowly and surely falling by the wayside. And as of now, Wildcard, I mean, this is just a very bold statement, but I feel like they're in a much better position this time around. Bailey found an early pick, and they were able to fall away Order. And it looks like he still might be looking to do the same thing here again, Raven.
Yeah, it looks like it. He has been droned out. If he manages to find this opening, I tell you what, Wildcard are not going to be too happy about that. Gets aggressed on. He actually does win it out over Milo. Even after the scans from the Jackal and the Lion, Bailey has come out the victor of that engagement. So that is really big for Order, coming out of that first half of the round with the advantage. Importantly for Wildcard, though, they have started to get some map control at least. Yeah. It looks like they're able to try and push a little bit more vertically. But again, historically, we've seen them just remain quite linear on this push, kind of going direct to side, and that's it.
I feel like sometimes tracking and scanning can just be a false positive, right? You think like, oh yeah, surely the E1D will catch the players off, it'll make them fall away, but I mean, especially in that position, Bailey's kind of in a do or die. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. You've got players watching down red and players watching the escape to mud, so it's just kind of, you know, you push a rat into a corner and it's going to bite its way out. Not calling him a rat by any means, Bailey. He's much larger in stature, that's for sure. But at the moment, Emo Rin trying to open things up, but it's Geo who falls down. Oh my God, you blink and there's frags left, right, and center. Nico, Emo Rin, there's absolutely no chance for him there. And Vinny in a 1v4 starts off on the right footing, but is shut down immediately after. Another good round on the board for Order.
This is what I was a little bit worried about earlier. You know, now that Order are starting to string a few rounds together, they're looking pretty good. You know, Wildcard in some interesting fashion won that first round, sure, but that's the only round that Wildcard have managed to win. Now Order have just strung together 3 and they seem to look better and better and better. This is where it gets really dangerous, right? If we see Wildcard go down to a 5-1 half,
yep,
it's very much deja vu as their Invictus Gaming match from just the other night. I think it was Tuesday that we played that one. And to remind you, I think they ended up losing that completely 7-2. I'll quickly go back and check the notes. Yeah, 7-2 to Invictus Gaming on Villa. Yeah, it's feeling fairly reminiscent of that at this stage.
Scary times, there's no doubt about it. And whether or not they're going to be able to tidy things up before the end of this half, that is really where the big question lies. Because, you know, like, I mean, when do you call that attack timeout, right? Do you save it until you're on your defense so you've got that opportunity to reset? Or are you going to be using it as soon as humanly possible? Because right now, Order 3 on the trot. And that last one looked more confident than any of the rounds before it. Certainly don't want to get to a point where it starts getting a little bit uncomfortable. The questions start to be asked, and Wildcard, I mean, they're definitely not shy of taking on some of the bigger challenges, but as of late, their success rate just has not been there to convince us that that is going to happen. Certainly an extension here from Order, the triple reinforcement over to Stat. I think Wildcard are going to have to be quite careful here.
Yeah, I'm super curious to see what they do. It seems like their push is going to be pretty similar, right? Like they were very in the camp of getting some vertical control before. I guess one big difference here, though, is Geo has switched from the buck to the sledge.
Yep.
So,
oh God,
but they've still lost that opening kill, and that's pretty early as well. That's really not going to help, and that's the line off the board. So I'm not going to say any chance, but you know, any assistance that would have had on the room clear is just not going to be there anymore.
Not at all. Milo still with the cheeky jackal. It's Bailey that's going to hold across from this angle. And this, like, I mean, Bailey could seriously burn some time for Wildcard if he was able to stay by bricks. But I love this from Wildcard. It looks like they know exactly what they're trying to do. They've pretty much gone from that study push, the main stairs push. They've gone all the way across to the other side of the map and said, let's just start to put our eggs in the basket, see if we can find something and open this round up. Because you have every opportunity to rotate back to main stairs. What you can't do is tunnel vision in and try to break a, I guess, move an unmovable object.
Yeah, I think it's always good too when you're like a team that's struggling a bit to actually kind of just change up the push. That was almost a perfect grenade. That would have been brutal to at least trade it back onto Nate. But look at that, as we're just kind of talking about, they've taken that map control and all of a sudden this is definitely looking better. They've taken 90, they've got top of red. All they really need to do is just keep an eye on Tom's main stairs, and that's kind of set for them, right? And they've got Milo down here to pretty much do so. So yeah, I think again, this is really setting up much better for Wildcard at this point.
Somewhat mitigating that utility across Study and Tom's, but I guess now they've got to worry about that clash. And the worst part is the Sawyer Gate's still on the game's door, so they're going to be able to pop that back open in any particular time that they do so, please. But Wildcard have enough projectiles to get through that. Again, trying to push past Bailey is going to be really the big choke point that they're going to find themselves in, especially with Nate still up with the smoke. But that's huge. That's massive from Milo.
That is massive. You're so right. It would have been such a big extra point of delay. He had 3 Toxic Babes in the pocket. Now not to be used. Really big pick from Milo. He's about to get swung though, and no idea. That is Specker for the double of the round. Order looking potentially poised here to stunt this one in its progress here, Manic.
Oh, the clash is just so frustrating to deal with. It looks like there's a player out on study balcony, so they might be able to pinch in from the backside. Oh, what's going on here? Straight through Vault. There's quick trades, a 2v2 now, as they try to force their way back into the site. Oh, this is cheeky from Bailey. How long can he stay alive? Not long enough. Nico, what position is he in right now? He's going to try and retake from the edge of Vault. Slows down for a second, peeks back around from Skull. Surely, no, that's the opportunity he needed. And now Wildcard can set for a post plant in the 2v1.
That would have been huge for Nico to get that, but now he's giving himself some extra work, but work he does. He's taken out Vinny, so now 1v1, he knows the other player's position. He is in Vault. Nico's going to have to either swing or be swung here. Bit of a dance going on. Doesn't have it in him though, Pat. Beautifully maneuvered. He's going to lock that one in for Wildcard.
I mean, that round was just minigame after minigame for Wildcard. You know, they lose the first player, they quickly regroup, they start taking from stat and trophy across, they force order onto site, and then they go back. Milo went back to main stairs and started wreaking a little bit of havoc. If it wasn't for Specker swinging on him as he was turning back around to watch the backside of Bar, he might have found even a second, or at the very least pushed Specker further into his own grave. I did like that though. I like to see Wildcard moving about, not being stuck on one objective, on one part of the map. And that is something that Order are going to need to be cautious of, I should say, in this last round as we do reattempt AVG.
Yeah, I feel like that was definitely a bit of an L for Order in particular. You know, it felt like they had advantage for a lot of that round, but total credit to Wildcard. They really put in some fluidity. They gave themselves an opportunity, right? Pat opening the rotate in through Vault. It gave Geo that chance to actually kind of, you know, maneuver around, because otherwise Specker himself had really maintained that control of study and top of main stairs. So that was really it. They would have otherwise just been funneling in through the aviator door, and it would have been a completely different story, I'd say. But no, it was a good read from Wildcard, and a bit of an opportunity gone begging there for Order, because it did feel like they were seriously tracking for this 5-1 half kind of thing, and now Wildcard have this opportunity to maybe even negate that completely to be a 3-3 half, and I think that would actually be quite devastating for Order at least.
Yeah. Well, that's always the problem, isn't it? We get so excited, and this is not just for Order, but we always get so excited when teams go, you know, 3-0, 3-1 up to begin with. You kind of... You get that feeling like, oh yeah, this team's on today, and then just in one round it can completely swap the entire tale of the first half, and it looks like it may well happen here. What's the resilience like on Order? Are they able to fight back here, keep that advantage leading into that second half, knowing full well they are going to need it? All comes down to this final round, and I mean, that's, you know, the momentum's with Wildcard, there's no doubt about it, but what can they do?
Well, good thing is they identified that this aspect of their push last time was much better. You know, clearing across from the north side, getting that early map control, and just giving themselves some footing for this attack is certainly going to help and alleviate pressure. So as you see, they've already got quite swift entry here. Pat live droning Milo in through Trophy. Now, there is some changes to Order. You will notice Specker is actually playing 90, and also Milo wasn't in Trophy. He was actually below. I got totally duped, but my point stands. Order has changed it up as well. Specker playing aggressive at 90. It was actually Nate last time, and he did almost die there early, and now Specker's died there a bit early, so there goes that play.
Geo. From 90. Doubt Order's going to give him another bite at this. Rin's going to start to put the pressure on main there. You can see the droning ahead now with Wildcard starting to spread out, starting to find themselves at different areas. Study's going to be a main point of contention here for Order. They've got two players there, a third with Clash as well. So surely this will be a pivotal part of this hold.
Feels like it will, but look, they've got a surrogate this time on the Vault rotate. Oh, Bailey, a little aggressive on the balcony. He's obviously not going to worry too much about that scan, but final 50 seconds here. Order's still fairly spread out. They've got some great control of Study. Now, Nate has found a pick onto Geo, so at least they've evened out that man advantage. This flank from Nico could be the nail in the coffin here for Wildcard if they don't catch this on drone.
Milo, spotting out early. 30 seconds left. This is really starting to get a little bit stressful. No smoke babes left. Nico finds the kill. You said it. Speak of the devil and he shall appear, but they're on site. They're starting that plant and it looks like they're going to be able to stick it as well. Vinny, what can he get done? He finds Jack Daddy, a 3 versus 3 now. How much can Nick? Oh my God, Nico and Nate just absolutely come together and there's no chance Milo can stop this. He's going to try to swing and there's no room left to move. Order. They make that a 4-2 half.
Good half from Order, and again, I think they're going to look back on this and really feel like they should have had the 5-1, but it is what it is. 4-2s, I'm sure they're still going to be happy with. And look, that was a big round from Nate. I'd say even a big half from Nate. He really stood up on a lot of those rounds to get some multi-kills and just continuously keep Order in the tally and in the game and in advantageous positions. Of course, so did Bailey, but at the end of the day, it's really good that it's not all on one player's shoulders. So yeah, great half from Order. Super curious now, though. Can they back this up on their attacks?
Completely different ball game now with Wildcard feeling more so comfortable on their defense. It's a bit of an outlandish claim, I know, but I'd have to feel when they're somewhat disjointed, the defense should give them some room of comfort. And I mean, we're not really seeing too much difference in terms of the lineup, just the clash that's not being brought on the defense. But it could well, I mean, I don't know, Raven. I don't know what you think about the clash. I love seeing the clash. I think that it does so much on a defense, especially in something like AVG where there's so many choke points. And there are multiple rounds there where it completely slowed down things, but it can be a double-edged sword. You know, you're essentially one player down for most of those fights.
Yeah, I feel like it really lives and dies by just how you play around it. You know, like if the clash is kind of off solo, sometimes that just can get absolutely slammed and you've kind of just lost a gunner for no reason. But I tend to agree. I really like the clash. I think there are some sites where it's super effective and it does create some pain, but I think importantly it also adds just an essence of psychological warfare. You know, like it is annoying to deal with, and when you have clash in your face swearing at you and electrifying you and slowing you down, like that can get super annoying. So I think particularly against a team like Wildcard who have had their struggles and can get a bit tilted, sure, like throw it at them. I think it's quite effective.
Love what we're seeing from Wildcard right now. Very deep extension across the stat and trophy. You can see Vinny's got some of his mute jammers on the wall of stat. And they've also got some Mozzie pests down on the first floor, so droning this is not going to be easy whatsoever. I actually believe, if I'm not going crazy, Milo might be ready with a C4 in hand underneath. We'll wait and see how that one pans out, but Vinny goes aggressive. He'll find the first kill onto Bailey, and Milo, he's come up from the Astro stairs. This lurk is going to be Rome, I should say, is going to be very hard to deal with.
Yeah, he may even... Oh no, Jack's actually too far away for this C4, so that is actually going to be a waste there, but yeah, he could have really had an impact, but either way, I think that was really big from Vinny, and a bit of a misplay from Order. I mean, I feel like they droned it, but the actual timing of the swing not really in line with that live intel, so bit of a misplay from Bailey, but it is what it is. Order still have a chance, 90 seconds, but again, Milo still on the run down in the cellar.
Specker, how much does he hear as Milo makes his way back up red? Couldn't imagine too much. He hasn't really even notified that. Milo's made it all the way back. So have Wildcard. The best part about that setup is, for me, the Sawyer gate slowing everything down at landing across towards study. It really ensures that Order can't just burst onto site without Wildcard really being aware. But with a minute left, I mean, timing's not all that bad when you consider how long Wildcard held on for.
Yeah, timing's definitely not too bad. Fairly well set up. I think Order will definitely bode well if they can manage to even out this man count right here, because there's just still, you know, all those bodies ready to deny. That being said, no C4s in the pocket, but yes, this could be really big here for Order. They're really pushing at this aviator door.
Yeah, Gio's had to pull away, but Vinny's still in study. Nico from the drone hole. You love to hate to see it. There's no doubt about it. Nate pushes in now, but still, it's Vinny who's in study. He might be able to deny this. Look at the timing and the execution from Order. It's just perfect. And now, Emo-Rin, what can he get done? Milo up on the flank. We've seen him running downstairs this entire round. And is he going to be the linchpin here? Nico is having a big one, but now it's on to Nate. He holds firm, 5 seconds left. Milo He's been the snake in the grass the entire round. How venomous is that bite? He turns the corner and catches Nate. A big round for Wildcard to take in the first round of this second half.
Really important round there for Wildcard, and another round that kind of feels like it just was let slip by Order. Again, it's always so hard to judge what's going on really in the team camp, but it felt like to me at least that plant could have gone down a bit earlier and they might have had some more bodies in post-plant. But end of the day, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Wildcard edge a bit closer, and look, we might be just facing again a defender-sided half. I feel like this is going to come really close. Really, it feels like that Wildcard will probably bring it back a bit in this half.
Yeah,
we might be looking at 7-5 or even an OT result.
Would it be fitting, both teams with so much on the line here. Again, can't stress enough. Order are down 2 points at the bottom of the season standings underneath Direwolves and Wildcard themselves. 3 points secured here would leapfrog them out of relegations until, of course, we see what happens with Direwolves later on tonight as they play Invictus. That one surely is... that should surely be in the pocket, but we just, you never really know. As we look at like the run home for Order, they've got QC and then they've got Chiefs for that final play day. Whereas Wildcard, I think Wildcard have been given a bit of an opportunity here to claw themselves away from relegations totally. Considering what happens here, if they can push it to overtime, even if they just take the point, that's crucial because they've got Direwolves and then QC for their straight run home. So this is a really important matchup to determine whether Order are looking like they may be able to fight out or whether Wildcard will kind of run ahead and give at least some breathing room for these final 2 days, I should say.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that context up again because it is crucial, right? Like this is, it's still a die for both teams, but the fact that Order is the one fighting from behind and right now they're in front, I think that certainly adds a lot of pressure to be holding on and maintaining a lead in general.
Yeah.
The fact is they're on the attack side and that just makes it tougher. So yeah, telling signs, but this is good so far from Order about clearing out this roam. Wildcard not really keen to contest it at all, just dropping back. And that means that Order, at least, haven't really had an engagement to worry about.
Not yet. Nico. That position could be quite pivotal in terms of cutting anyone off trying to rotate back to site. But, who's really rotating back to site right now? It kind of feels like Wildcard. They've got their ducks in a row, 3 below, and I can only assume 2 on top around the master and stat area, which is exactly what we're going to see. Vinny now has joined them as well. This is where we saw things kind of unravel for Order on their first defense. Nico pushing back up the staircase. He's getting a little bit kind of push and shove here. Something's got to give. Order are too close to this site right now for Wildcard to stay with 5 players.
Yeah, still a bit of work to do as well. They're trying to open this pantry wall, but still muted. So going to have to try and find some utility. And Nico, though, at least has found that opening kill that is going to help a little bit. And that is the elusive Milo in that Vigil.
It's actually a big one because Milo was so pivotal in that last round. How many times he came up and flanked, at the very least put the pressure on Order as they now start to push into sight. What can Specker do? He hits an unreal shot, but it's actually onto his teammate. Goodness me, this has fallen to pieces for Wildcard. It's Vinny left 1v4 and Order just have everything they need in this round. This is exactly the kind of response we wanted to see.
Yeah, really good response here, and it could have almost been flawless if Specker hadn't taken out Nico, but Vinny, he's got 30 seconds to try and make this miracle 1v4 work. He's so close to seeing this player memorial so many times. There it is. He's going to get a freebie onto Jack Dad, but as time ticks away here, Manic, seems like a very impossible task here for Vinny to lock in.
Yeah, 15 seconds. He's only got 5 to make it toward the site. Oh my God, Nate, what are you doing giving an opportunity like that? Honestly, there was still about 5 seconds left for Vinny to run to site, and there was a player in kitchen. So that, I'm just going to say, that can be a little bit dangerous. But regardless, Nate shuts it down early on, and we now go to dining once more for Wildcard. Not interested in attempting the stat and trophy. I mean, go for it. if that's what kind of gets you over the edge, then sure. I mean, when you look at the stats for the defensive side, Kitchen and Dining in APAC South for Stage 3 has been won 100% of the times, and there's been 5 attempts. Now, of course, with this map, there has been 2 unsuccessful attempts, but it does show that, you know, it's even more favoured than stat and trophy, which is, I don't know, I definitely didn't expect that.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Me either, but hey, here we are. Order in such a great chance to potentially move to match point. I think that's a big thing that I didn't even really think about right now after that round, was the fact that they are only 1 round away from match point. If anything, you know, at least that's going to secure them 1 point. Of course, they're going to want 3. Feels like they're on track for 3, but yeah, I think it will ease a bit of pressure. Just looking at the scoreboard, I only just realized on the wildcard side, it's a bit, I don't know, weighted all on Vinny, right? Like,
Yeah.
I hate to read into scoreboards too much, but just in general, it feels like the rest of the kill contributions, at least, are just a little kind of flat on the rest of the wildcard. So again, I feel like that really just indicates, if you compare the two,
Yeah.
who has had the control. Like, it really has been Order for this match.
Compare the pair, same income, same super contribution. I guess that's Vinny at the moment, sharpish, right? He's hitting the shots that he needs to, and surely if Wildcard can start, oh my god, Nico's not holding back whatsoever. He's going to go straight ahead and try and take any straight up gunfight that he can. Oh my goodness, Vinny, I think he's a little lucky to be alive there, but regardless, he still just can be an absolute nuisance behind the lines of Order. Love that from Vinny. Just got to be careful, you know, you never know.
So you got to be careful, and of course that was against actually one of his ex-teammates, Nico, back when they used to play on like the sinister Melon Cat roster before that one disbanded, as did Milo, but Milo is Vinny's teammate still in this instance. But yes, first minute in, some good pressure from Order to really just push Wildcard back, and here's Milo yet again on this vigil. Just lurking all by himself. This is a real, like, risk-reward style play. He could either have a serious impact or just get absolutely slammed for cheap.
That's the thing. If he can make it back to site unscathed here, that would be... I want to say that'd be quite large. It looks like someone's going to be watching a line. Is that Nico, who's potentially down and dining? Yeah, so I don't know whether he had a line open. No, he didn't. So there was no way he was going to be able to catch him on the rotate back down from red stairs. Regardless, though, a minute left, and it just, I don't know, it kind of feels like Order don't really have a hell of a lot done. However, they could start to put a bit of pressure in pantry as Nate's made his way into laundry.
Yeah, actually, they're kind of doing a similar push to what we had seen from Wildcard a little bit. They haven't really opted to get some serious vertical control here through Stat and Master. And there he is, finally that opening kill. Spec is going to fall to the C4 of Geo. Just again, the fluidness from Wildcard looking quite good here. And now Milo's found another to back it up. This is looking like could be a Wildcard round here, Manic.
Yeah, it's starting to fall apart, but Nate, what can he get done? Nico's going to find one. Nate looks away for half a second, and it's just the second he needed. And Jack Daddy, we've seen him in positions like this before. He can claw around back. He's got 30 seconds to do so. He does not have the diffuser. It is in Wildcard territory. As he makes his way around the corner, so much noise being made. There's a Banshee in his way as well. This should be 100% the nail in the coffin, and Vinny will ensure it. Wildcard are not giving up without a fight.
Had that live intel being fed to him as well. You're right, it was definitely always going to be Wildcard to close that one. 4-5, again, we're really tracking towards a potential close close match, or close result in general. My gosh, couldn't get my words out. But back to AVG we go. Last time we saw Wildcard defend this was round 7. It was successful. Looked fairly decent as well from them, so see whether they can replicate that.
I mean, do we say that Milo was kind of like the linchpin in that round? The roam that just never went away for Order? I mean, could they deal with that a little bit earlier, and maybe the pressure would be on Wildcard then? I just, you know, Questions that I can't answer, Raven. I don't know why I asked them.
Well,
maybe
no,
you
I
can.
mean, good to chuck it out there. I tell you what, I actually feel like it wasn't that effective. I mean, Milo did end up getting a kill, but at least from what I could see, certainly I could be wrong, could have missed it, but it didn't seem like Order were hard trying to track him or pinch Milo or clear him specifically. So it didn't feel like their source of their delay was Milo, but I mean, I could be wrong. They might have had some drones just around on flank that they were flicking to. They kept getting the signals. Maybe that got them concerned. In general, I actually feel like Order's downfall was just a little bit about their push, and it's similar to what we've seen with Wildcard's failures to attack kitchen dining, and that is it just felt quite linear.
Yeah. That is something that we can certainly criticize. You know, if we get to the end of this game, and that's the majority of pushes we've seen, got to remember a 4-2 half on the defense really set Order up quite nicely here, but Wildcard could well and truly get this under control. Loving this from Nico and Specker. A little bit of pace about them. They slow back down, but they are through art, as Specker now might be able to get to the top of red. If he does, there's still 2 players, I think, extended across towards Stat. He could cut him off quite nicely, but Order are certainly doing a great job of their early droning.
Seems to be, but what's going to be important here is that they get this opening pick, and here is Milo again, just on the run. He hasn't hit a shot, and he's got 2 players actually close by. He's just not going to go back. He is so keen to ride till he dies here, Manic, and this is where it gets really testing for Order. Are they going to hard pinch this? And if so, they could walk into a trap. This is a great angle from Geo, using the hole created by Sledge.
It really is a ride or die position right now for Milo, who's got a player behind him, a player in front of him. Jack that he can't find the kill. In fact, it is a trade in the end. Goodness me. Geo now, surely looking to get a little bit aggressive. Specker with a really crisp shot. Well, alleviate the pressure as Emorin's kind of forced to make a decision here. Does he remain at Classic and try to hold top main stairs, or does he fall away? It seems like for now, he has decided to back to site.
Yeah, 3v4. Order have given themselves a good position for this attack, but still a lot of work to do. That's certainly going to help. What a shot from Nate on the drive-by. That's good night to Vinny, and this is looking even better for Order right now. Coming into this last minute, Wildcard are fairly spread out. Poor Pat on site, though. He has not much HP to boot.
3 smoke babes, though. Shotgun in hand. He could do some serious damage if they try to make it through the classical choke point. Emorin, if he's not pressured from behind, he might have the pick of the lot here, but he does seem to know that he may need to support Pat, who's sitting behind Bar. This is a really tricky position to be in. 30 seconds. Order, do they have what they need? I mean, this is where things can get extremely dangerous. No, it's Bailey from underneath, and goodness me. That was exactly what we wanted to see from Order. It looked like they were stalling out, but not to be. They were just getting into position.
Yeah, that was a really dominant answer back there from Order. A really strong round for them. Could have almost been flawless in a way, but not the case. But they move forward to match point. Here comes the tack timeout, I dare say. Yeah. Seeing our lovely observer hit that pause means it is just that, Manic. Wildcard tack.
Has to be. It has to be. Wildcard already dropping 1 point from this game allows Direwolves in their later game against Invictus the opportunity to jump ahead. But the big storyline here, the main point that we have to keep in mind is where Order are on the season standings. This win, 3 points clear, will jump them ahead of both Direwolves and Wildcard, and again, get them out of relegation. There's only 2 games left after this for both of these teams. This would be detrimental, to say the very least, to Wildcard. Again, kind of going back and prefacing, they have a better run home, there's no doubt about it. Wildcard have Direwolves, and then they have QC. So I feel like those 6 points, at the very least, you know, 3 of them are up for grabs, whereas Order get a little bit, they get a little bit more of a tough trek home with Chiefs on the final playdate. So this right now will set them up to, at the very least, put the pressure on Direwolves and Wildcard, but this is where it's got to happen. You do not want to allow Wildcard to walk away with 1 point from this game, and only at the very least, then all you can get is 2 points. This is where they need to finish it.
Absolutely, and I think on the other hand too, there's also the head-to-head to consider, right? Like when it comes down to this stage, Order's definitely going to want to have the head-to-head against Wildcard, so just winning this game as it is a really good little advantage to take in towards the end of the stage.
Yeah.
Quickly looking at the standings as well, this will, if they get this round, of course, if they get 3 points, this will jump Order all the way up into second place. Now, of course, we have other games to play today, so it will certainly change.
Yeah.
But big is that they would be on top of Wildcard. I
Yes.
think that is certainly what they're going to be aiming for.
Yeah, I guess I tunnel vision on that final on the seasonal standings because of the fact of relegation. But what is also even bigger than that is the fact that there are still playoffs to be had. There's still a major to be played that these teams can be fighting for. And I mean, Wildcard are third right now, 6 points. Order at 5. I mean, it's possible for either of these teams to make it to playoffs, which blows my mind considering what we've seen from them so far. But it is still there. It's up for the taking, and every point matters. We saw it last stage. We saw it the stage before. Any point dropped can really come back to haunt you. And so Order know this. They don't need to be told. There is no way that they will be giving this up, at least without a very strong fight. But really, what can Wildcard do? Can they band together? Or is it going to be another Vinny round that might save them this 3 points that could be up for grabs for Order?
I think it definitely will help them to get some magic in this. Frag grenade doesn't look like it's going to hit onto Emo-Rin. But yeah, look, stat trophy. This is a really big chance here for Wildcard. They haven't held it yet. So, I mean, that can go either way, right? But sometimes that can really help you because your opponent doesn't quite have the read. They're not quite used to the way you're holding it. So there's some adaptation up front that needs to happen here from Order.
This game has just turned into a massive game of where's Milo. Step aside, where's Waldo? We've got a new game. It's just called Where's Milo. He was all the way over at top main stairs. Now he's come back toward red. There's just no stopping this man. And I mean, if Order were to have been pushing across and sweeping from Trophy, not from Trophy, sorry, from AVG, that might have left a little opening. But now he's going to be able to come back to the team and hold together with Geo. But Order with 1:30 on the clock, you'd have to imagine they're starting to really get an idea of what they're trying to achieve.
And just slow progress from Order. Kind of starting to really pinch around this lower roam at least, and this is something that's been working out to mixed results for Wildcard. But I tell you what, Emo-Rin, he's picked up a pretty big kill there against Nico. He's really been peaking in form, but Jack Dad's about to catch Vinny. Oh, he doesn't walk into the line of sight. That is such a missed op.
That's so unlucky. Oh, Vinny, come on, you can't be doing that. Geo goes low as well. This is starting to fall to pieces for Wildcard, just bit by bit, inch by inch. It looks like Order are fighting back in this one. 40 seconds left. It slows back down for a hot second. Order primed in this position.
Yep, this Smoke Babe's really holding Specker at bay, and Bailey also needing to find a rotate up towards site. So Order really setting the pace to be last minute here, 20 seconds. They're somewhat ready for this, but it's going to be a little bit skitty.
That it is. There's no way of putting it, Raven. This is going to be dirty. It's going to be messy. 15 seconds left. Emo-Rin loses the first fight. Nate's going to hold firm now. It's Specker that opens up. It's Milo and Vinny. All that remain here for Wildcard. 3 points on the line for Order. And like a jack in the box, they come out. Vinny goes massive again. You cannot stop this man. He denies Order the 3 points, and we are not done yet.
Unbelievable. I mean, you called for it, right, Manic? You said, where's the Vinny magic at the start of that round? And it came out right in the last second. Order just caught sleeping in a 4v1. I'm so sure that was 4v1, right?
Yep, 4v1.
Unbelievable. 3 guns should be trained in all the positions. Of course, he swings from Trophy, but that's just where those guns weren't pointing. And Wildcard lived to fight yet another round. And this definitely gets scary for Order.
It does, and I mean the tactical timeout says it all for Order right now. They have to take this moment to take a breather. I mean, the pressure that is on their backs, again, it's seasonal. It's stage 3 for them. This round that has just unfolded with Vinny winning that 1v4, that could dictate an entire season. They may not even be back in APAC South for 2022 if this continues the way this is going. An unbelievable round that will certainly shake up how things progress from here. They need to get their heads on straight, at the very least, Raven. They need to be looking forward, because looking back is disastrous.
Yeah, I guess what's scary now too is Wildcard are going to go to AVG. It's 50-50, right? I mean, last time Order won it, round 10, wasn't too long ago, but they won it quite successfully. It was great. But way back in round 7 when Wildcard won it, I mean, Wildcard didn't smash it through. It's not like it was super strong, but at the end of the day, it's just one of the sites that Wildcard won. So they can hold some kind of confidence there to try and back this in to get them to OT.
Now, as AVG is the setup for Wildcard, I dare say that's going to be the extension across the Staten Trophy that we saw previously. They've got Milo on the Mozzie that they utilised underneath to try and slow down the drone work, trying to, ensure that at the very least, Order have to kind of throw everything but the kitchen sink to flush them out, or potentially look at a different site. Now, we'll wait and see how they do decide to set up, whether that is the extension. Kind of looks and smells like one, but whether they do stick it is a completely different story altogether.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, I feel like Milo just wouldn't be that comfortable to be on site, right? Like, the man has been everywhere but site a lot of this half. Yeah, absolutely. So, like, it feels like he's definitely going to remain to be that elusive lurker. And they've gone this hard, as you said, hard kind of spread out setup, which seems like it's been working out. So, I don't blame them for doing it. It certainly was what was pretty effective in round 7 when they won this site.
It does spread your utility quite thin, especially with, the likes of the Sawyer Gates and the Mute Jammers. But, I mean, the Mute Jammers, I feel like, wouldn't have the biggest effect on site. It's not really going to be sitting there as firm wall denial as we would generally see it. So you may as well have it across, trying to deny the droning in from Order, keep the veil over. But that drone there might actually give Order the look in that they need. I think that was Top Astro, maybe, unless I'm tripping out. But at the very least, they do have information on that second floor. Wildcard are going to need to be really careful here.
Yeah, Order really looming. Really nice little setup here to catch any rotates down below. Milo is pretty pinched in library here. Jackdad now taking up this position and living means Milo is effectively stuck in library. He's been droned, so the only real backup that he can get is either vertical or from that main stairs position. If Order play their cards right here, they could get this opening pick.
I love this from Jack Daddy. He's pinched onto the wall there. Pat, though, finds the kill onto Nico. I don't know where that was from. It sounded close. But now, what can they get done? My God, Order are just throwing bodies one by one. And this literally is just a game of catch Milo on this defense. He is ever looming large. The trade should come in at the very least. Milo might even be able to hold on himself. The player from top main stairs could not support in time. And Order may have a look back into this round. This kill here is pivotal. Oh.
Yeah, this is huge. If they can get this to be 3v3, and the fact it's Vinny, that's really going to help Order. They've still got a minute to go. So you know what? Like, there's still quite a bit of time to be set up for what they need to be set up for on this particular attack. It could work out, but now it's starting to slip a little bit, Like, it felt like there was an opportunity there to swing onto Vinny's position. Not to be, and now Order are just kind of trying their luck, and this is where it starts to get dangerous. Time eroding, Wildcard is still fairly spread.
Now they do have red control, a little bit firmer with a double kind of buddy system here. Vinny holding on, can just continue to fall away. This is really dangerous right now, especially when he finds the kill. Specker was left on his lonesome as Jack Daddy was trying to hold the push from Games. And bit by bit, they're really starting to let this one slip. But Bailey, we've seen him do some pretty mental things, tries to hold on to the firm line, but it's Emo Rin. Oh my goodness. Maybe if Jack Daddy makes it a round of safety, it could be on, but we are in overtime. What? Where did that come from?
We are in overtime. I mean, yeah, look, it did feel like Order were going to lock in maybe a 7-4, at least a 7-5, but at the end of the day, it felt like this was also inevitable, right? We kind of talked about how close this match felt like it was getting, and we went through a lot of rounds where they literally just traded them back. I'm going to count it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they literally just traded the last 8 rounds all the way to 6-6. No consecutive round wins until that last round, in fact. Wildcard finally getting back-to-back. But yeah, it's just been a bit of a game like that, hasn't it, Rob?
Yeah, it certainly has. And I mean, this is what you want to see when so much is on the line. And there's no doubt about it. This quite literally is so much. Talking stage, talking season results. These are the games that really matter. This is crunch time for both of these teams. And it's good to see neither are giving up without a fight. But again, the question will be posed. I'm sure the boys will talk about it on the desk. Order had that chance, 2 map points in a row here to clear the standings, to jump above Wildcard. Now Direwolves are probably looking at this game thinking, geez, Wildcard are going to take a point, maybe even 2 away from this, or to get a little bit closer to us. It's going to be an absolute dogfight. And, you know, again, looking at stage 3 results, depending on who wins this, I mean, we could see Wildcard and Order end up in 2nd place together on 7 points. So there's just so many implications from this particular game in stage 3, Playday 5, with still 2 to go. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm sure we're probably going to end up reiterating this on the desk after the game as well, but this just has certainly felt like a game that Order has let slip all the way back in the first half. It felt like they should have been able to lock in a 5-1 half, and they just couldn't do it. They let Wildcard in with a little bit of a glimmer of hope. Yeah. And look where they've brought it to, this overtime position. On top of that, it's been defender-sided 4-2 halves. Wildcard are the ones with the defense advantage here in overtime.
It's really dangerous. It's a really dangerous position for Order to be in. And especially with, I mean, you know, say what you will about the roam from Milo and the consistent flanking. Maybe it's been effective, maybe it hasn't. One thing's for sure, it's kept Order on their toes. They have not been given a second's rest, and Milo gets caught out by Nico. Again, great work from Order as a team to try and find a certain pick. But where does it go from here? This is where things have kind of slipped for Order. Can they tidy this up?
Certainly going to help too, just shutting that down so early. It's a fairly big aspect of the roam clear that they just don't have to worry about. Not that I felt like they were anyway, and now there's another factor. Geo off the board. This has been a really effective first 90 seconds from Order, giving themselves a really strong man advantage. This is definitely the way you'd want to be starting overtime.
Oh, Vinny could really do some damage here. I hadn't even seen he was on the Oryx. I was so busy watching other things. I don't even know what just happened then. I swear, if that was another pixel-angled shot from Vinny, I'm going to lose my mind. The man has started to come alive in stage 3. He's going to need to do a little bit more. Specker now trying to take a fight, but it's Vinny again that finds a double kill. This man is going absolutely mental for Wildcard. He may well be saving the season altogether. There is no giving up. Wildcard, how on earth have they made that work?
How on earth indeed. I tell you what, Vinny is how they made that work. Man got a triple kill, predominantly solo, but at the end of the day, like, he is just on fire this game. I think he's on 19 something now. Didn't quite catch the end of the scoreboard before that round finished, but that was huge because Order started that out. They got the 2 opening picks in the first 90 seconds. Really great spot to be on your first attack for OT. Order could have been facing match point on their defense here, but no, Vinny stood up, got the 3K. Just unreal effort from Wildcard in general. They've also had 3 rounds consecutively here to save this.
That's crazy. That is honestly mental. Wildcard, 3 back-to-back rounds. Again, the pressure on the shoulders of this roster right now. They are already booked in for the national relegation system. They may not be in OCN for 2022. I mean, they've got relegations to fight through, so I highly doubt it. But there would be so much pressure on this team in terms of, results and where they're standing and where they think they are. But this here could well be just a lifesaver for this roster. And there is no other way to put it. Order now backs up against the wall. Dig deep or go home.
Well, let's see what they've got in store. They're on the defense. AVG is what they've gone for. Looking back at their history, they won it twice, lost it once.
Attackers are moving out
So,
to locate a bomb and defuse it.
look, it's the site they played the most when they were on defense. That's something. But it does worry me, you know, Wildcard did win it. They got a plant in round 5. It was a 1v1, won by Pat, but regardless, it's such a pivotal round for not just this game, not just the stage, potentially the entire season.
People at home might be, you know, wondering why we're putting so much emphasis on it, and that's just it, Raven. You've hit the nail on the head. It is just so important, and now is when Order need to come alive, because it is now or never. Milo, pantry control. Nico finds the opening kill. A big one at that as well. That was the Jackal. That really could have unraveled a bit of Order's roam here, with Nico still down in the wine cellar as Geo tries to push in, but is he long gone or is he sticking around?
It's like Nico's keen to stick this. Did see a drone just come down the red stairs though, so seems pretty aware of his exact position. Wildcard looking to move, maybe facilitate a pinch onto this, but either way, they're just going to progress, get their map control. Again, it's what was pretty effective for them on the round they did win, round 5 of the AVG. They pushed through stat, pushed through trophy, got that control of 90 nice and early.
Bomb has been located.
So yeah, they're going to continue and try and get that set up yet again.
Really like this, just completely ignoring Nico. I mean, right now, there's nothing you can really do. Unless you want to try and push him directly and force that fight, you're not really going to find anything. You're going to be chasing your tail for the next 30 seconds if that's what you go for. And now, Vinny and Emo, they've taken red control. They're still aware of the player underneath, and that's just going to be the ever-looming kind of thought in the back of their mind. Be careful of the flank, be careful of the roam. He's going to come back, he's going to haunt us. And it looks like this is when he starts.
This can actually be the plus side too sometimes of having a teammate that's dead. I mean, Milo, if they've set up their drones effectively, he could just flick cams. You see he is on cams, good boy. But like, he could just flick those cams and keep an eye out for Nico, so they don't have to stall out. They can just keep working with their job. But Bailey stands up. That's a big pick onto Geo.
Yeah, Nico now coming back to shoulder with Bailey. I mean, this is Wildcard really clutching at straws. Emo, Rin, and Vinny. Oh God, I swear to God, if Vinny finds a way back into this round, I'm completely done. He's almost found the head there, but some sharp shots are just not going to cut it here. There is so much work to do with 20 seconds left, Raven.
And yes, it's just him and Emo. He is not going to find any. In fact, Wildcard will find none in that round. It's flawless for Order. We move to 7-7 here, Rob.
Not only do we move to 7-7, Raven, but we move back to defense for Wildcard. This is the round that they are looking for. 4 rounds back-to-back have been won on the defense now. 3 for Wildcard, 1 for Order. Does it finish with the same trend? Do we see 5 straight rounds? Would be incredibly telling. 4-2 half for Order on their defense. Swapping back around, Wildcard dug deep. They fought hard. And it all gets decided on AVG. This has to be the most comfortable site for Wildcard right now.
Yeah, I mean, same situation as Order in that previous round. They won it twice on defense, lost it once. So, oof. I don't know. This is definitely scary, but tell you what, Wildcard will know the stakes, as do Order. This is the time to stand up. I mean, we've been prefacing it for the last couple of rounds, but there is no more rounds. This is the last round of this game. Full stop.
No mistakes. They cannot hold up here, either team. This is everything gets left in the server, because this really, honestly, this is where things can be dictated for this stage, for the season. They cannot let the 2 points slip. At least it's a point now, right? Each team has a point, but that one extra point might be what saves them. And I'm telling you right now, if we walk away with one team dodging relegations by 1 point, I'm done. I will be completely done, because this is where it will be decided. And Villa's fitting, considering how much we've been seeing it recently from these two teams.
That is fitting. I mean, even just a lot in the Oceanic region in general. Feels like this is becoming the new home of OS. So, yeah, it's producing some exciting matches, that's for sure. This one is certainly no exception. Now, big feature has been the roam clears that both these teams have had to do. Milo on the side of Wildcard, he's been the one that's been really a pain to deal with. He's just been on these solo roams, just shooting drones, and often a bit tricky to shut down. But that being said, Order did a great job of that in round 13, the first round of OT.
Yep.
So hopefully they can hold that as some confidence to do so again here.
Milo imitating Geo from last round, down in the basement now. He's completely away from the site. This is really good work from Order. They've already started to put pressure on site vertically as well. Wildcard not going to be feeling the most comfortable. Are they going to completely just, move away from Milo? That discussion will come later in the round. We'll worry about that when it comes time. And it looks like Spec is still holding that line to make sure. But certainly, you want to keep your eyes on that kill feed from Milo's perspective. Does he get taken down? Is the drone watch on point, or is he going to sneak by?
Yeah, that's it's always the chance. There you go. You see him starting to make his move as well in through Memorial towards Order's positions. They are all heavily stacked here in this lobby. They are really trying to make this Tom's clear work. Geo is under so much pressure right here.
Yeah, this is going to suck. He's going to get absolutely pushed right now. Surely there's going to be two players coming upstairs. It's Specker to find the opening. He's trying to find another. Classic hallway is now forfeited by Wildcard with a minute left on the board. This is not looking great for Wildcard. How much can they hold? But this is... Oh God, we've seen this before, Raven. We've seen this before, but he executes with the perfect amount of time left. Pat now swings as well. Oh, ring-a-ring-a Rosie, a bit of bait and switch, and Wildcard. Have they brought this round back? No, Emo Rin's down. It's Moloska. It is just Moloska left now.
1v3. Milo just trying and just salvage something here for Wildcard. He's in a very pushed up, aggressive position. Order know, they do know. He downs Nico, but he doesn't find Nate. Order with the victory here, Manic.
That is absolutely massive for Order to fight back. That is what they had to do. That's what they had to prove to us, and it's exactly what they've done. They secured 2 points at the very least. They now tie Dire Wolves at the bottom of the seasonal standings, as Wildcard now just inch a little bit further away. There's just a tiny little gap between them and the bottom two. Regardless though, much needed points on the board, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, they're now both on, well, they're on 7 points, and I think Order are now in second place. So Order on second point, Wildcard in third. Like, what is going on here? How are these two teams at the top of the standings? But regardless, it's been a solid performance from both of these teams, and one that in a match when it really counted, they pulled through.
Yeah, I'm sure though we're going to hear in the interview that Order are going to be quite disappointed with themselves to have dropped the 3 points. Like, in all honesty, 3 points was theirs to grab. I think that Vinny 1v4 clutch is forever going to haunt them.
Yeah.
Among other things, I think even the round before that, it felt like it really should have been theirs, but not to be. It's just the nature of it sometimes, and hopefully Order can just take it in their stride. But I think most importantly, they at least got the victory. They've got the 2 points.
Yep.
They're going to jump out a little bit in the standings, keep themselves in that playoff contention, and also importantly, they're just giving themselves a great situation to hopefully avoid those relegations come end of the season.
Again, it's so important because you look at their run home, they've got QC and then they've got Chiefs. They needed 2 points at the minimum there to keep themselves in it, but that's going to do for that matchup and for us for now. We're going to throw it back to 2 of the best analysts in Siege and one of the best hosts in JoyDev.
Very much, Robert. Wow. That was our first 15-round match of APAC South, and Order, eventually the favourite team did pull through, but I mean, guys, we were on the edge of our seat that whole time. Even in the dying moments of that round, we kept thinking, is he going to clutch it? Is he going to clutch it? What can you even say about these teams?
Yeah, there are a lot of moments in this matchup where it really did come down to the wire, the scoreline reflecting that ultimately as well. I just think that Order, at times, were a little bit more composed. Wildcard were heavily reliant on individual players. You had 1, Milo on the roam every single defense, trying to waste as much time as possible. And then 2, you had Vinny the frag machine actually doing work. Outside of that, it was a little bit iffy for them. Order on the flip side, they didn't play a perfect game by any stretch either. They had to try and recover off the back of the failed 4v1, and that was sort of the road for them. But yeah, very interesting game at stage, a little bit messy again from both teams. We came to expect that though, I think, being the bottom two currently in the seasonal standings. And yeah, fortunately for Order, as Raven mentioned, they jump ahead now of Wildcard in the season standings. They're still a threat of having to fight through relegations, but it has been minimized a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Order is just so thankful. Yes, sitting in relegation position is very scary, and that's their second win in the last 10 games that they have played. I know someone that's going to be somewhat relieved about that will be Specker. We get him back in. Specker, mate, I mean, are you breathless? I had anxiety just watching you guys play that game.
Yeah, look, it was definitely a tense game, but I believe it was Guz that said, we maintained composure, and really at the end of the day, it should have been a much, I think, tighter game from us in regard to we were definitely ahead, had a lot of momentum, had a lot of the teamwork kind of coming down. They were definitely relying on some individual plays, which absolutely credits to them in regards to those individual players, but as a team, we definitely played better. We just had some shortcomings, unfortunately, which, it does happen, but yeah, it's good to get the win. Would have been nicer for the 3 points, but we'll take the 2 points now. As said, it does give us a little bit of breathing room, but of course we're looking to get the flawless kind of full 3 points for the remaining matches.
Yeah, on the topic of individual plays, Vinny was a little bit of a menace in the server and unfortunately pushed the game to OT. Just how difficult was it to try and ride out this match?
Right out in regard to wrapping it up, I think it was a bit tense, I suppose. Like, I mean, again, I feel like we definitely could have won that 7-4, but then it kind of was these back and forth rounds. But I'm sure the other team would easily say as well they had some sloppy plays, but it does happen, of course. But yeah, we just maintained that composure. Never really had the moment if we're going to lose this. Let's just play the game. Let's just play out the round, stick to our strat, stick to our plan, and yeah, it worked out in the end. Not the exact result that we wanted, but yeah, definitely nice to get that win in the overtime instead of losing it, which I think's happened for our past 2 matches in South. So bit of fresh air, boys. It's nice.
Specker, it's been obviously a rough September in terms of results, but I actually think in terms of your actual gameplay, it actually hasn't been as bad as the results sort of dictate. A lot of overtime matches, for instance. Has there been any sort of tweaking or adjustments to any game plans or anything? Or are you just keeping the faith, knowing that you're kind of in these games for the most part? You've gone up against also some really tough opposition and just sticking with that and now starting to see some of those results?
Yeah, I suppose pretty much how you've put it. We just stick to our guns, stick to our plans, trust the process kind of thing. Of course, our OCN results have been polar opposite compared to our South. Our South are an actual competitive team, and we're doing pretty well in that league in comparison to OCN. We won't really talk about that one, I suppose. But yeah, just kind of trusting the process, going not through the motions, but trying new things and experimenting, bringing different operators. Refining our defenses to figure out what's kind of annoying to attack against, I suppose, and yeah, sticking to our guns and our actual game plan. We did have a few moments of disconnect among the team on attacking rounds, I believe, here and there, but then we kind of were able to reset that and bring back to a level of actual, I guess, fortitude, but we're actually content with the plan that we were doing, and when we stuck to our plan, we won. So it's pretty good to do that. So just going to be taking those notes, I suppose, into the following games, and of course, doing some revision, and we'll be checking out our opponents. I believe we have Chiefs and Q Confirm coming up, so should be some thrilling games, gentlemen.
Yeah, well, you are now in a playoff spot, and you are now out of a relegation spot, at least for now on both of those fronts. I would love to ask you how confident do you feel you'll be able to stay in those positions, but I know that you're always confident, so instead I want to ask what needs to happen, what needs to change to make sure that happens?
I suppose just eradicating that stress of, oh gosh, we might be in relegation, so now shifting that mindset. Not to say that was a prominent mindset for us, but I guess it's always on the mind of players in some way, shape or form. Even if you say it doesn't, it's going to be that beckoning in the subconscious potentially. But now having, I suppose, that slight reassurance and just, playing with more not that we haven't been playing with confidence. I feel like in certain matches, specifically in OCN, nowhere near as much for some reason. Can't really explain why. But in South, for example, against Invictus, there was never a moment that we felt like we were going to lose. Same thing with Knights, and then again this evening. So looking to keep that similar kind of determination and ferocity, I suppose, and carry it on through. But just stick to a refined, consistent idea of everyone on the team is on the same page. This is exactly what we're doing. This is how we're progressing throughout the round. This is what we're going to do to win, and that works out, I suppose. So I guess just a little sit back. you know, watch the rest of the games tonight, see how everybody else plays, and do some formulating of a game strat coming into the next 2 play days for South League. So really looking forward to it. Should be an absolutely riveting remaining 2 games, and yeah, keen to see the rest of the matches tonight.
It's always a pleasure, Specker. Good luck in your next game against QC. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. Stay well, gentlemen. Much love.
Always confident, always got a lot to say as well. Xenox, Becca's always got confidence. Do we have the confidence in him? He said they just need to put it out of their mind the fact that they might be at risk of relegations.
Yeah, look, I do have confidence. I think, as Specker has said, they've had decent results so far in APAC South. To a degree, for a team that's 2-3 technically, when you look at their actual results, you know, they pushed IG to overtime, the only team to actually be capable of doing that this stage. They also pushed the Knights to overtime. So I think the only real blip so far in APAC South was that loss to Elevate, considering that Elevate haven't quite been their usual self. The one thing that really intrigued me the most in this match was the sort of lack of stat trophy, by the way. I just can't believe that's where we only saw it like twice. But Order becoming very quickly a very good Villa team, so I don't know. I mean, everyone's playing Villa, at least in the Oceanic region, so who knows if they'll be able to play that again or not. But the last thing as well for Wildcard and Order as both teams, I don't know if they will actually end the night in the top 4. Of course, coming on later tonight, we've got a lot of the teams that are on 6 points to play, so you'd think that, you know, 2-3 of those will probably leapfrog them.
Yeah, well, 2 of those teams that are going to be gunning to leapfrog Order and confirm a playoffs position are Knights and the Chiefs. They are playing up next.